Good evening or good afternoon for whoever's watching this. It's a good morning for me because it's kind of cool out right now and it's still muggy out from yesterday, but that is not going to stop me from getting some of these parts that I just got from Barnes 4-wheel drive on. We have got some of the suspension parts that I ordered and they came in pretty quick. So let's go over what I got. So I got the frame outriggers. I got new leaf spring mounts. And then I got these U-bolt eliminators. So we are going to start with the leaf spring outriggers. And I'm going to go ahead and start grinding so I can get this all set up for this bad boy to go on right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started on these brackets and everything real quick because it's gonna get hot pretty quick out, and I know about midday, about noon, I'm not gonna want to be out here anymore. So these leaf spring perches from Barnes are meant for a 9/16 bolt. Well, my leaf springs are set up for a 3/4 inch bolt. So I had to drill out the two holes. And then these say they're 3.5 inches wide, meant for 3-inch wide leaf springs. And I've had this side bushing cut down to fit in the old setup because these are off of like a 2001 or 2002 F-150, but even with that cut off, this measures out to 3 inches, so there is a bit of a gap, but I will make that work. So I got those sitting in there. This is gonna sit just like that, and I just gotta make sure the leaf springs are somewhat level. Once weight gets put on, you can see the shackles are straight up and down. Once weight gets put on, that shackle gets shoved back. I don't want it forward at all. But now I would like to measure kind of where the old mount was to where the new one is now. So I gotta see if I can find the old mount to get reference. And if I get lucky, I would have thrown it in the scrap pile. But knowing me, I threw it in the trash and I dumped them. What are you gonna do? But I think, I mean, this is basically the spot that they're gonna live, so hopefully they're not too tall, which I don't believe they should be. But we will find out. Let's get everything tacked up. So got this tacked up, so now we can go ahead and do some measuring. I'm going to measure the other side and see kind of roughly where it sat before and reference it. Funny thing is, I just realized I forgot there's this hole right here. That's where the old bolt used to run through. So we are pretty in line with that, so I can just measure how far that is. So it looks like about 7 inches from this point to this point, and I know that calculates a little bit different down here, so I'm gonna have to look up the measurements. I need about 3 inches. A little over is fine, but I would rather it be 3 1/4 or 3 1/2, because that's what the blocks were in the rear. So let me look up and figure out how the calculation works for that. All right, so with this leaf spring set up in line with that hole, measuring from the top of this mount to the top of the leaf spring comes up to just over 18 and an 1/8. And then coming to this side, measuring from the top of this mount down, comes to 21. So that is damn near 3 inches, and I think that is going to work perfectly. If I need, for whatever reason, a real small shim, that will be fine, because with these Barnes U-bolt eliminators, you can buy the length bolts that you need, and if I have to go a little bit longer to accommodate a really small shim, I don't think there's going to be any issues with that. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get the other side going, get it all tacked up, and then let's just mock everything up. I'm gonna throw a few more tacks on the other side just to make sure it stays there nice and sturdy. I'm not gonna burn anything completely in until I have everything mocked up, because cutting a lot of welds back off is no fun. So let's go ahead and get some of this other stuff tacked up, get the other mounts up, and keep on rolling. All right, I got my little contraption to keep this forward. Got the jack, and then got this all tacked up in place. So now that it's all tacked, I'm gonna go ahead and take this bracket off for now, so I can start welding around, get a few more tacks on the back. But I also want to get the 9-inch housing and get the leaf spring perches tacked on, so I want to get the housing lined up. I do need to get another bolt, because one of the bolts I had to cut off, so I'm probably just going to run and get some brand new bolts, and then we will come back and get that 9-inch in. So let's go ahead and run to the store real quick. And I'm also going to get the bolts and nylock nuts for this guy. So I'm probably going to get a few different sizes. I'm going to measure the leaf springs, and I might get a little bit taller ones that I could always cut down. But I'm going to get some tall ones right now just for fitment, longer than I think I need. So I can go ahead and just get it all set up and in position, so I can get everything welded on. All right, so now we got everything bolted up. I just got a few bolts tight on each side. Now we can go ahead and get the 9-inch all mocked up. So got the housing and everything sitting here. So now we can go ahead and bring it out and set it up underneath, because I'm gonna have to do some cutting and clearancing because of the backbone truss that I have on there. So let's go ahead and get it under there and let's start marking. Well, I just realized I still need to put my other my spare third member together so I can get the actual correct pinion angle. So yeah, I need to take it back out. Not that big of a deal, but I want to make sure I get everything correct on the first shot, and I don't cut too much off of these perches, because if I do, then this is all for nothing. So let me get this back out of here, and let me get my spare third member put back together real quick. All right, so got the third member in, the axle's underneath, the puppers is trying to stay cool. So now I need to see what blocks I have to raise this thing up and set it on there, and see if I can lift the vehicle up to get my pinion angle. What do you think, Coda? You think it's hot? Yeah, I agree. It's still hot out. Well, it's not going to finish itself. All right, so now I got the 9-inch placed, the third member is on, And then I'm gonna have to get an angle finder to figure out the actual degree. And I'm gonna probably want to do a double cardon joint. I'm gonna do a little bit more research, but I want it to be pointed up at the transfer case some, because I don't want it pointing way down, because this is my spare third member. I am gonna have the pinion guard, so it will have some sort of a skid plate on it. But I am also going to be getting a NP231 slip yoke eliminator, and I don't think that that's going to affect the pinion angle or anything else like that very much. But as you can see, we have the axle pretty centered. It's like to about a 1/16 of an inch, but I just wanted to get reference so you can see with this on here, you can see that it's not going to clear the backbone truss, and it's the same on the other side. So this, I'm gonna have to grind these little notches out to fit the 3-inch tube, and then this is gonna have to be ground down and cut off on both sides and both pads so that it fits snug around this. And then for these back bolts, and possibly for these front ones too, I'm gonna have to weld them in place, because I don't see any other way of being able to get a wrench or anything up in there to actually snug them down. But let's go ahead and grab some cardboard and make a template to fit around this. All right, so to make things easier, I'm going to go run and get a angle finder and one of those fancy tools that you can kind of put around and it'll form fit and you can lock it in place. I was going to trace it out with cardboard, but I would rather have those tools. They're nice to have anyways. And you know, I'm gonna go get the fanciest ones, nothing else other than Harbor Freight. Fancy. All right, well, I'm gonna be cutting this video a little bit short. The reason being is we are getting ready to pack for Natchez. We are heading out tomorrow morning. So I'm getting ready to pack, and I have some tools and some other parts ordered so we can finish the 9-inch on the Dakota. And I gotta wait for some of that stuff anyways, so there's no point in me waiting this out. It's gonna be a whole separate video on its own. There's gonna be a lot more cutting, grinding, welding, all that good stuff. But stay tuned, because when we get back, I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing on the next video for the whole Natchez trip, and that's gonna be a good one. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and just remember, stay off-road.